No.
What's the,
I thought this one is yours.
yeah, one here.
Oh, shoot. I thought it was, oh,
Doesn't seem to have it off.
okay. All right. All right, testing. Okay. All right, it's Thursday, September 25th, 2025. I'm going to call the Lunenburg Finance Committee meeting to order. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast over the Lunenburg Public Access Channel and on Facebook Live on the Public Access Facebook page. There is a Zoom link for this meeting, and the details of it can be found on the agenda, which is posted at lunenburgma.gov. And with that, if we can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Any announcements from anyone? Okay. Can you, Jen, can you ask PAC to make me host so that they don't have to do it?
Oh, sure.
All right. Any public comment from, there's no public yet. Any public comment from the board?
No,
Okay. Thank you. All right. So the next thing on the agenda is Town Manager and Finance Director report.
Good evening. Through you, Mr. Chairman, to the Finance Committee. Good to see everybody tonight. For those of you that aren't aware, we have had a lot of changes in our finance department here in the town. Ezekiel Ayala, the finance director, has given his notice, and his last day with the town will be the second to last week of October. I think it's the 24th. He's going on to be the executive director of the Latin American Health Alliance in Worcester, which is a great opportunity for him. But we had to react very quickly, obviously, to such a large position. So we have brought in Eric Kinshirf, CPA, who provides these types of services either transitionally to municipalities across the Commonwealth, and he has some towns that he is the finance director and accountant in to provide us services through the transition, including assisting us with the interview process. We did post the job very quickly, and we did engage in interviews, and the chairman of your finance committee and the chairman of the select board and the clerk of the select board all interviewed a candidate this Sunday. Thank you very much. And an offer went out, and that person has accepted the position. So Katie McKenna, who I have worked with previously and is currently the Oxford finance director, she's been there, I believe, about 7 years, will be joining us on October 20th. So I think that we will be in good hands, and thank you for the quick assist in getting this facilitated quickly. In addition to the finance director, we also had the planned retirement of Nancy O'Rourke, who is the payroll and benefits administrator, at the end of October. We have interviewed several times for this position, and we've even gone so far as appointing somebody who ended up not taking the job. Currently, we are still interviewing for this position. We had hoped to have 1 month of overlap period through the month of October for training. That's not going to happen. So at this point, I am going to be likely getting a consultant for some coverage while we fill the position. The good thing is that we have qualified candidates who are applying, so we know we're in the market correctly. It's just we're running out of time. And the assistant accountant is going on to become the assistant comptroller, and her last day was today, in the city of Leominster, which is a great opportunity for her. But unfortunately, that leaves the entirety of our finance department empty. So some of you may remember Steve Barrett, who assisted the town in the past as interim accountant. He is a retiree. He lives nearby. He's currently doing 3 days a week up in Rockport, Massachusetts, but he is doing our accounts payable on Wednesdays and Fridays. And one of the benefits, maybe the only benefit of having a position posted for the payroll and benefits position is that there were many folks who were looking at us who had accounts payable experience. So we had a ready applicant pool, and we have a good applicant pool for that position, but we'll have to rely on contracted work. So that is the changes to the finance department. We also do not have our FY24 audit yet back from the auditors, which is very late. They are stating that the reasons for this is there were 2 major mergers within their field, and they got 2 large companies got swallowed and then got swallowed again. So they're being delayed, but we've been told that it's close, so you should be seeing the FY24 audit report soon, but it is late. I'm not hearing that there's any issues that have been identified in it, though. So the only other announcement that I have tonight is that the town meeting warrant remains open until October 2nd for warrant articles to be submitted. If Finance Committee has any, you have tonight.
All right.
Can we ask her? So the benefits position, which is the payroll position, we have one person in that position?
One person.
Does the school have one person on that position?
We process payroll and benefits for the schools.
So they don't have anyone on that position?
No. They have somebody that collects and verifies the payroll, I believe, but they're not inputting the payroll into the system to be paid.
Is that person have other functions within the school?
I don't know. You're saying that maybe we could use them? I haven't even thought of that, but.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just thinking of, like, you know, if they are
Recording in progress.
instead of having 2 people or 1.5 people doing it separate, and then when we lose one, you know, maybe there is a chance to create a department of 2 when they have just functions of paying bills or whatever it is, that maybe creates a little redundancy on such an office that it needs to be happening every week. Like, this is an office that...
Right, to have some, right. We can certainly look into that. The person that's in the position now at the schools is not processing the payroll.
Right.
Right, so there would have to be some learning there, but certainly as we get our position filled, that might be a good idea to look at some collaboration between the 2 to grow that in the future.
Okay.
Great.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, Master Planning Committee requested data. So a few weeks ago, I had put in the folder sort of a questionnaire that the Master Planning Committee had asked each of the town, other town committees and bodies to fill out. I actually had the opportunity to go through this during the Capital Planning Committee, which Matt Brennan is part of. So being intimately involved in the Master Planning Steering Committee, he was able to kind of guide us through how to do it. And whereas that body and this body are kind of similar in nature, I took the opportunity myself to just fill in the way I think that this form should be filled in. And then if no one objects to, I don't know if you had a chance to review it, but I can kind of tell you how I filled it out. And if, everyone kind of agrees with that, we can vote on it and pass it on. They are asking for it by the end of the month.
The way the Open Space Committee did it was similarly, where the chair filled and then reviewed with the members.
Okay.
And I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, so the way I did it is, there were maybe a dozen or so goals and recommendations that were established. There's goals, each with several recommendations. And then they had identified the ones that they thought were ours. So then they asked the question, is this controlled by your board's bylaws and policies? So if there is a financial impact associated with the goal or the recommendation, I put a yes in there. So as an example, establish an affordable housing trust to help identify and fund housing projects. That would be something that I think we would want to weigh in on. It would be within our purview to make a recommendation on. The next one was like advertise federal and state first-time home buyer programs. Not really a budgetary related thing, So on that one, I put no. And I just followed that. Most of them were yes. The second question is, do we have bylaw policy on this already? I just put yes on anything that is budgetary related. I think we have policies and bylaws and charters, et cetera. How does this recommendation align with your committee's current goals and priorities? I stated FinCom does not have goals we assess and recommend to town meeting, also provide oversight on town financials once enacted. So I put that for each one of them, boilerplate kind of statement. Are there aspects that need further clarification? I stated no. If yes to 4A, I just put NA. And then the next question, related to your board, committee, commission, what is the impact of implementing this recommendation? Are there potential unintended consequences? And I just answered budgetary impacts need to be assessed and FinCom recommendations prior to acceptance at town meeting. So that's kind of the flavor I did for everything that had a budgetary item. Most of them did. I think there was only that one that did not. So I think that approach was similar to the way we dealt with it at capital planning. I'm sure if there's additional questions or any kind of feedback, they'll reach back out to us. But if there's no objections to that, I would recommend we just go with this and send it on.
Okay.
We all good?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so I'd entertain a motion to approve the Finance Committee Master Plan recommendation for committee feedback file and send it to the Master Plan Steering Committee.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, passes unanimously. All right, thank you. All right, the next one that we've been putting on is upcoming tri-board topics. So just in preparation for the upcoming tri-board, public safety, DPW, and facilities. So if there's anything, I think going into that meeting we wanted to discuss, the meeting itself is next week, right? Next Tuesday, the 30th.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to each of those discussions. I think they're maybe a little bit more meaty than the first one, so maybe more will come out of it. But anything we want to say going into the meeting?
I do. I have, but it sounds like town manager wants to chime in.
I do want to chime in because I just want to flag I'll get to the mic. I do want to chime in because I just want to flag the importance of I think what's going to come out of this process. I've been meeting with, obviously, the department heads who are presenting next week and was tracking the fourth shift for the fire department, right? That's something that we've been talking about as an area of growth. But I'm seeing that there's other conversations on a much smaller scale than that, where there are needs that are not met in the current budget. And so this process is helping to pull those out and identify them early. And some of that was quite eye-opening. So I think that, to your point, it will be meatier.
Okay. And, along that same line, I think having the discussion at this point in the budget cycle is very healthy, so that we're aware of it. We can kind of factor it as we're going through the details of the budget. Additionally, I think this process will put a lot of material that takes a lot of time to go through in the winter months now, so we won't have to repeat it in the winter months and get into a little bit more meat. Additionally, hopefully that will lead towards more of that 3, 4, 5-year planning that can go on, so that, maybe we can't fund all of that, but we can put a plan in place to try to fund all those needs. So that's good feedback.
So one thing, if I may ask, I appreciate all the presentations that we have had so far. I have two feedbacks. One is, I don't think we need to be looking line by line item budget that is like $18 for a name tag in a year. We need to get a bit, bigger picture, like operational supplies, if that line item is not going to have a major impact or change for some reason over the next few years, I don't think we should be talking about it. And the other one is if there is any major change that the departments are coming and bringing up, that we're not jumping too much, if it's an idea, but you don't start with a budget, and to make sure it's vetted with whatever group they work with. Imagine if Chris Ruth comes in and he's like, oh, we're gonna, put a water slide at Veterans Park, because I think this is a great idea, ever having spoken with the Parks Commission. So I think as the groups bring anything to us, bring an idea that has been vetted with whatever the group they work with, and think about what is the process of actually making the changes that you're planning to make. And the example would be another one more substantial with the schools, to say, hey, we need to merge all of these positions. The schools wouldn't show up here with a bunch of zeros in front of the staff line. They would coordinate with Jen before, trying to figure out the staff. Because getting those information first time in the finance committee, when it has not been fully vetted or is not the right step, the next step should not be a budget. So we just need to make sure of that.
Okay.
That's my two feedbacks on that.
All right, any other topics related to this? Okay. So the next topic, I know the warrant hasn't closed yet, but when is town meeting? It's
November 18th.
November 18th. So we're 3 every other Thursdays away from town meeting. So we have 3 more meetings in which to talk about this. So I just kind of wanted to put it on the agenda. I know Jen had sent out the current draft of the warrant earlier today to all of us so that we can start to review it. I honestly did not get a chance to look through it in any detail. I do know that, one that was discussed at Select Board is the TC Passios roof. For those that have followed Finance Committee for a while, back 3 years ago, didn't recommend putting on, the roof on that section. Feel a little vindicated. I still don't think we should do anything with that building. I really think we need to move towards tearing that building down, given its state. So I may not be at the next Finance Committee meeting, and possibly the one after that. So I just did want to mention that one. I don't know if there was any other kind of meaty topics that anyone wanted to go
So
through.
what is the recommendation with this warrant article? Like, to use a, what is that you're going to be recommending, John, since you're here?
It's the recommendation of both myself and the facilities director that we do not move forward with a partial repair of the roof, and that that doesn't stay on the warrant, and that anything related to the roof goes through the normal capital planning process.
So what are the other projects on that year, on that fiscal year, that are pending?
On that, open projects from that year that was funded?
Yeah.
If you give me a minute, I can
No, I'm just, so
I have it right in
I
my
guess
office.
what you're saying is,
leave the money, leave the 300,000 that was appropriated.
and put it back in free cash.
No, leave it in that article. It doesn't hurt anything by leaving it in that article. And then I'm sorry, the article that originally funded it, so what was that, FY '23?
Yes.
Okay.
It was in Article 11, November 23.
So, don't do anything. Remove that draft warrant article from the warrant, and then the roof project, the whole roof project, bring that through the normal capital planning process.
Okay.
The money, the $300,000, just stays attached there
To the capital plan of that year.
of that year, unless and until, or unless and when, we reappropriate that money for other capital spending is what typically would happen. So once everything is closed out, if everything else is closed out of that year, then you would take whatever the remainder is, whether it's $50 or $500,000, and use that when you pay for the next cycle of capital. So our FY '27 capital, instead of that being paid for all free cash, you can just transfer from those unexpended prior fiscal years of capital items first.
Okay.
It's like somewhat 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You could let it roll back through free cash, but then you have to go back through the free cash certification process. So it's easier just to transfer the appropriation from that prior fiscal year to one going forward.
All right. All right, so a couple things. Because this was done in November, I don't know if it was part of the overall capital plan project, because what I was thinking was, like, we usually have a balanced money. So
have
I don't think that's the case.
So
if it was in November.
if it was a standalone article, if I looked at the warrant, if it's okay, then it can just, then it's available for reappropriation.
So we can just cross this and leave this here, or we can appropriate into free cash and this will get,
You can't appropriate it to free cash, but we could take that money and put it to a different project. So that money is available to be reappropriated at town
is
meeting.
there any chance that, oh, I guess, never mind. Okay, so this article will not exist. Gotcha.
So that sheet that you have there, some of them are conceptual. Some of them are draft. Some of them aren't going to be ready. Some of them, the select board is going to say, absolutely not, I don't care. We're not putting that on. So it's definitely a draft.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. I don't know if anyone else had any chance to review them or browse through them now and wanted to talk at all about it. But obviously, this will be a recurring over the next couple meetings. I think the next time we meet, the warrant will be closed, right? So, yes. Yep.
Is the personnel, salary administration plan amendment done, or what's the status on this one? Because I think this one does have financial impact, and I'm not sure what the goal of these
Can
changes
I just
are.
see? There's a couple.
Let me give you everything.
Okay, so the SAP amendments for Article F is to change a title. That one's done. It's to change a title and to add a position to the pay scale. Okay, the Article G that just says the town manager and the assistant town manager are working on it, we're working on a big rewrite of the SAP. So
What is
that
what is the goal of the rewriting, and what are you?
some of it is for clarity. Some of it is for alignment with other things. One of the biggest items is a change to the way that our vacation time works, though. And a lot of these changes are being driven by what the select board has been talking about over the past several years about Lunenburg being a place that we want to attract people to come and work and stay. And so that is the vast majority of changes are being driven from that aspect. But we're just going to do other technical changes as well at the same time.
Okay, we are not changing the structure of how the cell administration is managed and organized.
Well, that's a different article. So we're also repealing the sick leave bank and the special merit awards that were put into the SAP last fall.
How come?
Because by being in the SAP, they only apply to SAP employees. So we just did the first round of merit awards, and there was only a pool of people that you could nominate, not the entire organization. So,
Sure.
But then there is an article, the select board is talking about, I think it just says, dissolve the personnel board, Article P. So I don't know that one's going to make it on this, but that could take a couple of different iterations. The issue that stands now is that the personnel board is empty. And in the absence of a personnel board, the town manager is the personnel administrator, which means every decision that I normally would make that would then get vetted by the personnel board, such as hiring somebody beyond a certain step, that doesn't have that second vetting. And so in the absence of that, it's just consolidated. So they're in one person. So some of it would be to vest that authority where there is that secondary level of approval with the select board. There's other things that in 2025 simply are not practical about having a personnel board, and many municipalities have done away with them. Personnel boards came from a time when you had volunteer boards, committees, and commissions, and you didn't have a lot of the employment laws that you have today. And so for a number of reasons, communities are moving away from them. I don't know that this will make it on this warrant.
Yeah, I was going to say, that seems like a pretty big change, and
It's
and
the
and then
it's that the policy needs to be stood up behind it. So when you're taking away the bylaw, that the policy is there to catch whatever you want to catch, and that's the part that
right, and
would
the
take some time.
the select board being the appointing power to the personnel board, doesn't the power defaults to?
No, it does not.
Okay. I mean, changing of structure of how we do things is, I don't like taking how little time we have right now in conversations. These things can become, if it's not well conversed with the community, it can become like a 10-hour town meeting about this one article.
And one of the things that we talked about the community has heard that there has been a need to serve on the personnel board for over a year.
Well, I'm not saying. I'm not saying. So
the applications have been none.
So let's make sure we know what I'm talking. So there is one thing about we need people to serve on this committee, and there is another conversation, which is we are restructuring how this is done. And all I'm saying is the conversation about restructuring how this is done is one that we should have the paperwork ready and be ready to talk with the community just not, that's all what I'm saying. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that shouldn't change. I'm just saying we should allow for time.
One of the
talk.
things the select board did talk about as an idea when we were talking about this, because the concern is not having the policy in place for when the bylaw goes away, is putting potentially a delayed start on it. So the bylaw would remain to give the time to do the work. That's a possibility, but we'll see. I don't know if it's going to be, this was a request of the select board to be on this warrant.
And that language is not finalized, and it's not in here.
No, they have asked for research, which they will be
Right.
receiving, yeah.
Right. I can see myself supporting, and even maybe Jay, but it's just we need to see it, we need to get used to, we need to converse with the community, get feedback. I don't think this is just something we show up and ask the.
Yeah, and I want to be
townspeople
clear
vote for.
too, because I've had some people reach out and say, this is a power grab by you, and it's
Do people
quite-
actually call and say that?
Yes, and I said, it's quite the opposite, actually. It's I am trying to make sure I'm not the only person approving some of these things, and that's the way it is now. And also, like, for, you understand, but just for the public, when you do have to convene a board that doesn't normally meet to approve things in a hiring process, you lose candidates.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing. It's more about if we're
Process.
changing the structure, we need to have the conversation, be ready to have the conversation with the community and give time for the community to get used to it and not expect to show up at town meeting with a language that's brand new.
Yeah, and this is a heavy warrant. There's a lot of
Right.
stuff contemplated, so
Right.
some of that might move to May.
Yeah, agree.
Good.
I think these are all the ones that I read and caught my attention and wanted to talk about it.
Okay, and we know there might be a couple more. I think schools might have one that they're adding. And any other conversations on this topic? Okay. All right, the next thing on our agenda is town finance policies review and discussion. I spoke with Jen a bit on this. I think the way we want to proceed is for Jen to get a chance to put her thoughts and her markups into it first before having us review it. So as of now, there's been a lot going on. She has not had a chance to make those markups, so we'll just pass over this item tonight.
Jen, so I know this is a process that's older than you. And I know you have a goal to be done within 1 year. So now we're waiting for you to do your markups, which is, that's wonderful. With that timeline of you wanting to get this done, within a year and walking back, do you have a timeline in which you have a soft goal of maybe getting that done? Because if it's, what I'm thinking is a question of process.
It's long gone. My soft goal was by end of the calendar.
Okay.
So the whole change.
Because, some of these things for me is a process, right? So if we have a soft goal of getting this with you bringing the first markups for us, and that doesn't happen, that becomes a trigger for us to find a different process to
Yeah.
act on and still meet the goal of getting it done within a year.
I mean, I did want to have it done by the end of the calendar year. I don't think that that's realistic.
Okay.
But I also don't know with getting a finance director on board who has recently done these in the past couple of years, how quickly they might be able to just pick it up and make very quick work of something that I'm going on and double checking my understanding of things online to make sure that I'm correct. So it could still be on that, but that's what I was hoping for.
So you want to stick with
I mean,
that at the end of the year? Because then we can just take it out of the agenda and not talking about it until, December 31st. Like,
Yeah, it's under old business in case we need to talk about it, so I didn't really even plan to talk about it.
I mean, if you want to keep it on and if you have something that you've received to react to in sections, take it up.
Yeah.
but the next action is from you, so.
Right.
End of the year,
That's
don't
what-
talk to me about it before. Got it.
No, I'm saying if you want to keep it on the agenda right? And if you'll either, for your next meeting, you'll either have a section or like tonight.
Yeah, we often pass over old business, but have it there just in case we need to.
My thought is like, I'll just, well, you know, I won't ask you again if you say your goal is the end of the year. That's,
Yeah.
like, in my head, like, okay, now I don't need to think about
Right.
this until the end of the year.
But it still needs to go through, I mean, originally I had wanted to be done. So it needs to go through you and the
Right.
select board. Capital planning has a piece of it. Our advisors from Bartholomew and Associates, they have the investment piece of it to make, because that was done pre-prudent investment rule. So they're going to comment to update that section. I wouldn't imagine you'd need to comment on those two sections by way of example. After those two committees, you may not have as much, but. So hopefully we can get it flowing again for you, though.
All right. I'll bring it up again end of the year, in the new year.
No, you need to bring it up again in November.
You're asking.
I know.
Okay, the next topic was prior tri-board meetings, if there was anything we want to revisit from the last one, discuss. Okay, the next topic, analysis of historical and current school budget data. Just to alert, you know, the other members of the committee here, Anna and I have had several questions that we have asked the superintendent as well as the new business manager, Chris McNamara, related to the 600K underrun, related to, you know, the baselining of the budget as it relates to this current fiscal year, where the $500,000 went related to that. I think I sent an email that the superintendent sent to us, to everyone on the board, just kind of with some of those answers. I think we had a lot of confusion based on that. We had a small meeting. Anna was there, I was there, town manager, superintendent, Chris McNamara, and Tony Scolambrini. Just to get on the same page as to like what data we wanna see. So couple things came of that. One, everything is in Munis. Chris knows how to run Munis reports. We should be getting kind of Q1 2026 report right out of Munis that we can review. He actually asked to come to finance committee meetings, so that's good. I'm sure he'll be willing to answer questions. So we should probably get that on an upcoming agenda once it's ready. Would like to see the same thing on the town side, you know, just those annual, you know, quarterly reports like we historically have seen and maybe haven't seen as much of lately, because part of our role is not just making recommendations on the next budget, but it is to make sure that the current budget is acting properly. There was some questions about some of the data that was sent to us, and we're seeking some clarifications on at least a couple of the items. I don't know, if, Anna, I know you wanted to maybe have some discussion on this topic tonight.
I mean, I don't think I have a discussion because I don't think we have the final answers yet, you know. And like, I don't know if you recall, but that presentation I did back in February or whenever it was all about how the information didn't really reconcile, like the data didn't reconcile. And it's better, and we're getting a more clear view, like the superintendent was able to send us a head count, names, you know, day one of school, last day of school. So now we have an idea of head count. We can take an analysis of that. So there's data that have become more clear, but we're not everything is there. And now we have, you know, I think there's some more questions. So like my fear when I made that presentation back in budget time was I actually don't have any of the answers, right? It was, I'm looking at this and the data as presented does not make sense. The budget analysis that they presented, their numbers didn't match their own presentation a slide or two before and didn't match their budget. So all we've been trying to do is get the right data. And I think all these surprises that are coming about are things that if we were diligent back during that time, these things would have been discovered, looked at, and addressed back then. But it was the previous iteration of the school committee. You know the response that we got after which was, we're not going to deal with this right now. We're too busy. And, and that's, I think, some of the surprises that we're having now is because we didn't do, in my opinion, the due diligence that we should have done in the past. So I am very pleased with my conversations that I have had with the new superintendent. She wants to work with the community, and the current chair of the school committee, he has been nothing but supportive of the questions. So I think that's a big improvement. So hopefully we'll have more clarity about everything
Okay.
in the future soon.
Okay. Yeah, they seem very willing to, take the questions, take the meeting, and have the face-to-face to even work through it.
Right.
Honestly, like writing down questions in emails and firing them back and forth can get difficult, right? So it was a good step, and I'm optimistic with the team and the collaboration that is occurring. And I'm also optimistic with the new finance director coming in that, she has a long, I think, 15, 17 years of experience in municipal finances, that she'll be a good fit for the town and a good addition. So hopefully everything is on a good path.
Do you know if that Munis report, is that like, can they export that to like a CSV so we can, okay.
Yeah, so, you can definitely get it output as a CSV, yep. And it's pretty easy to get whichever fields you want and then have it, align on the Munis code and all that kind of stuff, so.
Okay.
Which I think is one of the things we lacked in the past, is that there was, I think, a lot of recreating data off of Excel sheets and cutting and pasting and all this other stuff, when going to the source in Munis is really where you should always kind of go to, so.
One thing that I'll, add to that, the data is good just as you make the data good. So when I talk about financial practices and management and procedures, that's what it is. So for example, I know in the recent school committee discussion, a former school committee member said, I didn't know this was happening, and there was a lot of, I always heard a lot of complaint about Munis. The Munis has had issues, but it has been on the billing side of things. So for example, the sewer department, and that has been across different municipalities. But the process of opening a PO, creating a purchase order, receiving a purchase order, closing a purchase order that is not going to be fulfilled for whatever reason. Sometimes POs get created in duplicate because you have a PO, but someone gets the invoice and they think there's no PO, they create a new PO. These are financial practice that every organization should have. And when you don't have that, these little things that you think, oh, it's silly, what's the issue of closing a PO? I'll tell you, it's a huge issue. Because every time you run a report and you say, how much money is available? If you have duplicate POs that were created, as an example, now it's going to show that expense there twice. So as they get to the end of the year and they go through the process of closing POs, because they have not done that all year long, now they're going to start finding money that they hadn't found before. So all of this process, this is one easy process that I'm sure most people that have worked in any industry know what I'm talking about. So these things matter a lot, and you can have the best software in the world. If you don't have good procedures for ensuring that these financial practices are there, you're going to run into a problem. And I think there are a lot of issues related to that based on some of the stories of what I heard. And the number from 583 already went up to 600, and there is still, and I actually think now the current number is 621, and the encumbrances have gone down to 70,000. So there were definitely, that's already like from 125 to 75, that's $50,000 of PO that were closed, then now that money became available. That's one example of like when financial practice, management, policies that we're trying to approve within the next year.
Yep. All right, any other discussion on that? Okay, minutes. Have people had a chance to read the August 14th and the July 8th? The July 8th is the tri-board minutes.
Yes.
Anyone else?
I did the August one. It was July 8th.
That was the tri-board meeting.
I don't recall seeing that one. Was that in the email?
It was emailed to us.
But then
It was emailed to us, and it's in our folder now.
It might have been emailed before the last tri-board meeting.
Did you not get a chance?
I did the August one.
Okay.
I did the July one way back then.
I did the August one as well.
Okay, so you want to make a motion on the August 14th?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the August 14 meeting.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, that, we'll approve the August 14th, and just get a chance to do the July 8th. I do think I put it in the minutes in review. I'll double check and try to add that there if I forgot. Okay, any committee reports?
No.
Any actions and topics for future meetings? So I think the warrant will definitely be one that we're talking about over the next few meetings. We're kind of putting the policies on the back burner. Jen, when do you think we would have a Q1 report?
Mid-October? What's your October meetings?
October 9th and 23rd. Okay, so we'll aim for the 23rd. Any other actions or topics?
No, I think you got it.
All right, and then, Jen, just at some point, we need to put the budget calendar together, so. Okay. Upcoming meetings, tri-board meeting, September 30th and October 14th, November 12th, December 9th, 13th of January, and then 9th and 23rd for Finance Committee. Is there any public comment from the public? Any public comment from the committee? All right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned, 7:52. Thank you.